Basic Beginner's Guitar, Perfect Timing, A Focused Approach, Book 1, Lesson 8, Part 1. Just want to dive right into this because I got behind a little on the last one. We're into another set of the chord strum pages, CS-6, that lower right corner. So I'm going to read, in addition to the 8 main open chords that you've now learned, I want to introduce you to 4 more. 3 of these would also be considered open chords because they include some open string notes. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Remember, this is not an open string. This is not an open string, but the G and the E are open. C is not an open string. So you have a mix of, not open, not open, open, not open, and open, okay? But if there's any open strings in a chord, that's pretty much considered an open chord. It has just one open string in it, I think, okay? There's an F major 7th chord. You won't learn that one in this lesson, or in this study, but it has an open E, okay? We are going to learn an F here shortly, but hold on to your hat for that. We're not there yet. So, there's also, in addition to these, okay, those open chords, because they have open strings, there are also these 3 that we're going to show you now are also known as 7th chords. They're open, but they're also known as 7th chords, okay? We're not going to explain what makes a chord a 7th at this point. However, in memorizing 3 of them, G7, D7, and C7, you will get a feel for how the sound of a major chord changes when it becomes a 7th chord. Example, going from a G chord to a G7th chord. The same is true going from a major chord to a minor chord. Go back in the chord/strum pages to compare an E to an E minor and an A to an A minor. I think we touched on that a little bit. The minor chords sound more ominous, scary, or sad, I'll say. One of those, any of those adjectives would work pretty well for the feel that they convey. The root is usually the lowest note of the chord. We went over that. But the feel changes, okay? So here they are. I'm going to do these 3 and we're on CS-6, I said, but these 3, G7, nice picture of that, D7, and C7, okay? So here's G, a normal G that you know, and here's G7. You're taking your pinky up and putting your index down here, as is pictured on the chord diagram there, toward the lower half of the CS-6, page CS-6. And then we're going to go to a D7th. Here's normal D that you've learned, a regular D chord. Going to kind of turn it all upside down, and your first finger's here. Just look at the pattern. Don't play the low 2 strings, but there's a D7. So D to D7. Here was the normal G to G7. Kind of tell what making it 7th does to the sound of it, right? And here's a normal C that you already know. And we're going to make it a 7th now by putting the 4th finger down as it's shown on the diagram. I'm not going to tell you which fret and which string. You look at the diagram. You should be getting onto that by now. Okay, so C, C7, D, D7, G, G7. Okay, so you can get a feel for what they do. And finally, our last one, the F chord. I think technically it's, I think I added some more in. As I said, this is the last one. I have a chord chart at the end of the book. And when I do that, I actually throw some more chords at you, just a few. But I think there are some other 7ths that I didn't cover in these CS pages, okay? But the F chord, you'll notice, is unlike all the other 11 that you've learned so far, and the F chord has no open notes. When I was just talking about open chords. Fair warning, most beginners find the F chord to be difficult to play, but practice it and master it anyway. It is a great chord that you'll learn to love and use a lot. The part people find, my little note there, the part people find difficult is that your number 1 finger, index, has to cover needs to cover 2 strings, as you can see in the diagram there, at the bottom of the page. But this becomes easier with practice, so you have to cover those 2 strings, the first fret on the B and the E, and then you kind of stair step down as the, okay, but you don't play the A or the E string, okay, so doing that little down, up, or yeah, down, down, up, down, up pattern, okay. I know a song came to your mind there, right? I'm not going to say what it is, but that pattern is in so many things. It just, you know, when you hit a chord and start doing that strum, you'll think, hey, that sounds like whatever. But just be aware of that. So that's CS6, and next thing would be moving along to another scale, which is a pretty easy one. This is a C scale, and there will be no sharps or flats in a C scale, okay? That's a great thing about it. Makes it pretty easy, so let's try it. The way I did this one, page 53, back from the chord strum page on normal page 53 there, just goes up from a low C to a high C and back down, okay? We've learned these notes, so previously. If you can't remember, go back in the book and look, but I'm gonna go 1, 2, ready, play, okay? 1, 2, ready, play. And then back down. I didn't repeat the C, but we will here now, okay? So that's not really how it's written. I shouldn't have stopped in the middle. Let's play it all the way up and back down, you know, continuously as it's written. Ready? Ready, play. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Keep throwing those at you. That was a C, F, C. Okay. Real quick. Okay, you just learned the F. Now let's learn something new, the 8th note. Now this is where things get fun. Not really, get a little tricky. So let's review first. You've learned the note types. The whole note gets 4 counts, the half note gets 2 counts, the quarter note gets 1 count, and now the new stuff, this little 8th note gets what? It gets a half a count, okay? That makes it a little tricky. Has a little flag on it, you'll notice. I've got written there if on the stem, if an 8th note, and if an 8th note is below the middle line of the staff, we've been through some of this, but with the stem, which side and which way it goes, what's kind of the flag sort of follows suit there. It'll go up or down depending on where it is. And you can read about that. I'm just gonna let you. But a big thing is, and this happens with these two. These are called beams. It's a beam when there are more than one 8th note together. Instead of, you could write them like this in succession, which some of our songs we're going to do towards the end of the book do have them like that. But if they're in order close together, it just tidies it up again to do this little bar. It's quite a bit different looking than the stem and the flag, but this is a legitimate way to do it too. Legitimate way, and what you will often see, okay? So, more than one 8th note in a row gets tied together with a beam like this. Yep, you're going to see that a lot, okay? Let's see. What did I do here? Another scale, C major, and a new kind of note. An 8th note. Seems odd. C major. I already talked about that. Confusing myself a little. Let's just keep going with it. Let's see. Let's try a new scale, the C major. Maybe I'm meaning some exercises. The exercise I did with that. Might be a book correction here coming. Exceptionally easy because it doesn't have any of the sharps or flats, okay? I thought that's what we just did. So, yeah, it is. It's a little confusing how I've got that written. Might have to change that. Well, we're going to wing it and keep moving. Since your instrument has... oh, I know what I did. I may have to... boy, that's some waste of time. Just forget everything I said in the last couple seconds. I think I noted one time I'm doing simultaneously a 4-string baritone ukulele and tenor guitar lesson book too. So I have multiple pages in here where some of them are doubled and some apply to the other instrument. I get a little confused there. So what I really was doing as we got to the end of page 53, talking about the eighth notes, we're continuing on about the eighth notes here, okay? So it's a little tricky because it's the first note type we've seen that has a count of less than 1, okay? As I just said a little while ago, before I got myself confused, it was a half count, okay, really. So the note types we've learned and used up to now have all been fairly easy to count in 4 times. You just count to 4 each measure, and the note types of whole, half, or quarter could be easily counted. 1, 2, 3, 4. A half, you get 1, 2, and then if there's 2 of them in a measure, 1, 2, and then the next one gets 3, 4. Or I should show you what I'm looking at. Or if there's quarter notes, you get count. Each one gets a single count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's what I'm getting at there. Boy, oh boy. Okay, so easy, right? But since the eighth note gets cut or cuts a quarter note in half, it only gets a half a count. So how do we count that? The answer is we add the word, just like with the chord strums, we add the word "and" in between our count. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll say 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So play this line with quarter notes in it in the first measure and the eighth notes in the second measure. At the same time, try to begin picking up and down. That's called, remember I said I made a mistake calling it, I think that was in this series of calling it sweep picking. Get that out of your head if you got it in your head. It's called alternate picking, okay, up and down. So the upstroke and the downstroke symbols are shown there. So a quarter and eighth note exercise is this. Let's count it off, and I'm just gonna play, and you're gonna go from just counting 1, 2, 3, 4 to saying 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and on the second one. So the first measure is 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second measure is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? I was stroking all down, but I really wanted you to go all down on the first measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you could have been 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You can still count it with the ends in between. But the second measure you definitely have to get this quarter note feel, okay? So I'm trying to pick up and down. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? A little tricky. Practice that. Go back and practice that. I want to see how much time we have because I'm going to do it a little slower. This whole line, okay? I'm going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and through each measure, but play the right way. Again, first measure, you're all downstrokes. Look above the notes. See this downstroke symbol? Then it's alternating picking. Down, up, okay? So, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and should be the second measure, okay? So I have time here. Let's try it one more time. 1, 2, ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now let's look at my right hand here. See what I'm doing? I'm going. Can't get up in there. Good enough light. 1 down and 2 down, up and 3 down, up and 4 down, up and, okay? Again, second verse, or second measure. Okay, it's tricky. Practice that and go back to where I was playing it in good time. Let's see, I just have a little bit of time left. Let's do it again. Ready, play. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and again 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, I just wanted to do that again so you could play along. So rewind that, play with it. Let's go to the next lesson, okay? Because I'm out of time again.